I've already started recording, so when you begin, it'll already be recording.
Okay, Alex, can we stop the music? Thank you. Okay, so let's get started. And welcome everyone to the District 67 Toastmasters Pathways Interactive Online Training. Tonight, we have three wonderful speakers. We have Webster Kiang. He's going to share the Reflect on Your Path for Strategic Relationships. And then we have Trini Ding, our past district director, going to deliver her Understanding Your Communication Style. And then we have our incoming Division E director, Chiara Lee. She will deliver her Inspire Your Audience speech. So it's going to be a wonderful evening. I hope everyone enjoys our program tonight. So let's get started with our first speaker. By the way, I would like to just remind everyone, if you don't mind, please keep yourselves muted throughout the training. We will, at the end of each speech, we will invite our audience to type your questions because for the Q&A session for each speaker. And then I will read the questions to the speaker. And hopefully then everything will go very smoothly. And now for our first speaker tonight. Our first speaker is Webster Kiang, Distinguished Toastmaster. Webster is our second Pathways DTM in our District 67 in Taiwan. He has already completed two paths, the Strategic Relationship Path and also the Presentation Mastery Path. And Webster, I think, could be one of only two or three people, one or two or three members in Taiwan, District 67, who has also completed the Pathways Mentor Program. In fact, I'm still doing mine. So, and tonight, Webster's going to deliver the Reflect on Your Path project. And I'd like to give a little bit of an introduction for Webster first. Webster is a very senior member in Toastmasters in Taiwan. He's a past Division N director. In his professional life, he is a scientist, a research scientist in the material science field. He's also has been a member of parliament in Taiwan for 3 years. And he's worked for a multinational company. Now he's in private business. So this is an very experienced professional, and we will learn about his journey with strategic relationships. His speech will be 10 to 12 minutes. And for this project, as everyone knows, the Reflect on Your Path speech is the last speech for every path. And the purpose of this speech is to reflect on the growth during the completion of the entire path and to share the experience throughout the journey. So let's welcome Webster Kiang. Webster, are you there? Let's see what's happened to Webster. Let's see. Yeah.
Sound is, you got my sound now?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, can we, sorry, one moment. We need to spotlight you. Okay, Jackie? Yep, okay. Okay, welcome Webster.
Good evening, everybody. I'm happy to be here to share some of my reports. First of all, I served as the Pathway Ambassador back in 2017. And in 2018, I was serving as the pioneer for the Pathway. The first path I selected was the strategic relationship path. Why do I select this path? Because I think in the future, relationship is very important. First, from China, they have the saying that 有关系就没有关系，没有关系就有关系. And also in United States, the business magazine says all the important company, when they are asked what is the most valuable assets for your company, the chairman always said the people are our most important assets. If we lose machine, we can buy them. If we short money, we can get a loan. If we lose talents, then we're very difficult to continue. So that's the reason I selected this path. Okay, I also prepared some slides. I would like to share the slides with you. Okay, this is the title slides. Next slide. Next slide has the title of complete a pass in 7 months. This first pass I started was in 2018, May 22nd, and it was completed in 2018, November 1st. How can we do it in that kind of time frame? The trick is to do a prepared scheduling. Normally, if we ask a club if we can go there to give a speech next week or 2 weeks from now, they normally say we're already occupied. But you continue to ask the next one until they have an opening. Normally, within 3 months, you can always get an opening. So the way I found it to schedule is 3 months before to get you 1 month's quota, 3 speeches scheduled at 3 different clubs. Hopefully separated by 10 days apart. That's just a wishful thinking. So that's the way I used to complete this first pass in 7 months. Next page. Next page is my second pass. This pass, including the last 2 speeches, the DTM1 and DTM2, I completed in 8 months. Still continue using the past practice, schedule it 3 months ahead, but also for DTM project, it takes 6 months to complete. So we want to finish that at the end of the pass, then we need to schedule it 6 months before. Normally, you do it yourself for first 3 months, then before you give the first speech and then the second speech. That's the way how to schedule it. So for your reference. Next slide, I would like to get into my past now. Before getting into my past, I wanted to explain that the Toastmasters International specify there are 5 core competencies in the new pathway program. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 numbers also represents level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, respectively. Level 1 and 2 is common for all 11 passes. There's only 1 project out of 6 projects different. So the major difference among the 11 projects are item 3 and item 4. That means level 3 and level 4. What's the difference between these 2 parts? It all came from the leadership side. Now the new leadership has a strategic leadership, which deals with people, and also have management that deal with things to complete things in a good way. So 3 is for dealing with people, 4 is for dealing with things. I would suggest for those of you already in the pathway, when you select the second pathway, you can use this way to select your second pathway, whether you want to deal with people more or deal with things more. Things means management, more than 1 people. Dealing with people means to deal with a few people. So next slide. Okay, next slide. While we select the relationships, I covered that before, then go to the next slide. Relationship here normally means that we're dealing with fewer people. Public speaking, we are dealing with the whole house full of people. Relationship, we deal with 1 or team, very few people. And this one shows these paths. I selected the printed version. So I wanted to alert with you, there are printed versions available for some of the projects and for some in the Mandarin version. And this level 1 first, level 2, everybody is the same. Only level 3 and level 4 has a difference. Level 3 differs that it provides the knowledge of this particular path. Level 4 provides the skills. These 2 are those differentiates in that fashion. And the level 5 normally summarize. You have the 3 projects to summarize. Later on, I will cover it. It's called Reflect on Your Path, Lessons Learned, and also your last special project. Next slide. This slide, beginning this slide, I will introduce some of the favorite projects I think it's useful to share with you. The first one is understanding your leadership style. Over here is for our member to understanding leadership style. Everybody, when we selected this path, we wanted to be leader. And there are styles for different person and also for different documentary people. Like the university people, they like to use the styles. The leadership style, different people, different companies, or different consulting companies used to charge a lot of money to come to large corporations to teach them this secret. They call leadership style. Your company's sales executive, if you know this style, then you can manipulate your customer to get your sales sold. So the secret is here. And in Toastmasters International, we'll get a chance to peep into it. Let's look at the next slide. This slide that lists 8 items. These are called styles, 8 styles. In order to find out what is the meaning of these styles, this project tells us the details. We can go into the manual and study it. But how do we find out which style is we are practicing, we don't know about? This manual provides us a survey. There's a 6-page survey. After we go through those surveys, you'll come up adding all the numbers together. Then you get to the highest number, look at that. That's most likely is your appearance style. What I ran into is that I got number 2, Democratic. I got 18 points. It's my highest score. But I also have a second highest score is 13 points. Which one is authoritative? This looks very interesting to me because on the spectrum, those two are actually opposite to each other. So how can I have one and then have another 2? I think back for those years, initially when I was young, I was very not personable, and I didn't pay too much attention to other people. I only pay attention to what item I can learn in any aspect, in any projects. My learning was my first priority, not to dealing with people. After I joined Toastmaster about 12 years ago, I started to think we needed to get more friends. That's why I pay more friendship to relations. That's why I can see my democratic points is getting higher. I hope you will be interested in this project and do the survey and to find out which style you apparently looks like. And if you know that style is you are practicing, then the next step is for us to find out when we're dealing with people, whether it's a company executive, our customers, or their buyers, then we need to find out that their leadership style is. If we can mimic to be similar to their style, then we will have a lot more chance to get in their orders. Next slide. Next slide, we'll talk communication. The title is Understanding Your Communication Styles. So this is the second of the heavy duty projects. Communication refers to public speaking, old traditional lessons. Now the new lessons, including individual relationships. Then in the commercial side, it includes publication, it includes marketing, all those special new sales approaches. Let's look at next slide to see a little bit more detail. There are ways to describe the communication styles. The way I found it is better to describe is the division of those styles has some kind of logic within it. So this particular slide, it has the logic is that it's supposed to be 4 quadrants of a cross. Assuming there's the imaginary vertical bar in the middle and the imaginary horizontal bar in the middle. So it divides this into 4 quadrants. The horizontal axis on the right-hand side is a fast pass, and on the left-hand side is a slow path. We call it a patient slow path. Fast on the right, slow on the left. In terms of x-axis, horizontal axis. On the vertical axis over here, we're dealing on the top. It's dealing with the task more. That's similar to things, dealing with things more. And on the bottom is dealing with the people more. So over here, we came with 4 different styles. On the upper right-hand side is both fast-paced and the task-oriented is the direct communication style. Then the next, initiating, is on the right-hand side, the lower side, called the number 4, initiating. Okay, the third one, support on the left-hand side. It represents what? Left-hand side on axis, it is has more patient. And also, it's more people-oriented. So those people tended to be support as their major style. Then the last one, analytical, they are doing fast, but they are also patient, analytical. 4 these kind of styles is what we have in the books. Actually, if you key in the keywords of communication styles, you will be able to see some other styles. And you can see they're using different terminologies. But when you learn it, you wanted to find out what is the principle differentiates those different styles. Then it will allow you to understand and memorize it a little bit longer. Okay, after we learn the style, then we want to find out what is of our own style. There's also a survey when you're going in, it will tell you your highest score will be one of those 4 styles. But this slide shows the steps to improve our communication style. It's the process. If we want to improve in our communication, in our relationship, what do? Item 1 and item 2 is just what we described. First is understanding how many different styles are there. We did that, the back chart. Also, after we did the survey, we already identified what style we are. Now the third step, as you go on, one more step, go the higher ground on the relationship, is to recognize how you communicate with your styles, with your people you are interacting. Suppose the sales manager, you wanted to sell to the customers, the customer chairman of the company, what style they use, trying to find out, spend time observing, analyzing, and using the same style of this 4 described in our books. And once you find out what style he used, and then at least for the key sentences, for the words you wanted to describe to this chairman, write them down first and try to find out how can you use the style to mimic his style. And then use those voice tones, gestures to talk and converse with him. And this manager and this chairman will be so happy with you, so be familiar, then he will give you the order. So that's the way we can elevate our achievement into the 3rd level. So 4 and 5 work that way. Later on, if you have any questions, you can raise it up so we discuss it further. Now, next slide.
Thank you, Webster. It's time for our audience Q&A.
Okay.
And yeah, thank you so much. I think your perspective is really valuable because you have been working in a large company and also served as a congressman. So thank you so much. Now, I would like to invite our, can we continue to spotlight Webster, please? Yes, please yes, thank you. I would like to invite our audience to type any questions you have for Webster in the chat box. And then I will read the questions out for Webster. I'm sure we have lots of questions. Okay, so type your questions. Maybe I can start off with the, oh, okay, we have a question. Okay, we have a question from Alex. How to deal with people who are hard-tempered? I'm not sure what hard-tempered means.
Okay, how to deal with people with hard-tempered, okay?
Hard-tempered, yeah.
You think they are hard, that means that you can be soft. So continue to use your soft temper, talk to them slowly, talk to them softly, let them present with whatever style they use, but don't get any mad at it or don't even concern at it. Continue to talk. And he will gradually to convert it to your style, and you don't need it to convert it to his style. That's the suggestion.
Right, okay, thank you. And our second question is, did you complete the paths one after each other, or did you have both of them running at the same time?
One after each other, because Toastmasters for the printed, I needed to rely on the books. So I complete 2 books, then our VPE sent my clearance to them asking approval, then they will send the second batch, 1 book. And after that book, then ask us to send the 3rd batch, they send the 3rd batch 2 books. After that, then I was able to open another pass on the web.
Okay, so
immediately afterwards. So another 8 months, I continued on to complete the second path.
Right, and so you, I think you were one of the very few people in Taiwan who chose the printed path, and you did, as you mentioned before, you experienced some difficulties in terms of delay. Would you recommend the printed path to anybody now?
I think a part of the delay was because I didn't know I needed to make a written level completion report to the EVP, and the EVP has to sign it and mail it or email it to international before they can approve it. After they approve it, they do not do own inventory now. They have an outside company to help them mail. And so there's a communication among those. Sometimes if my case, there were 10 days between that, just from communication before they start to mail it.
Oh, I see. Okay, we have another question. In your experience, what is the most challenging project in the SR path? And what was your strategy to complete that project?
Actually, this path is a little more difficult. Every part has some challenges, but I have to read the manual 2 to 3 times before I really understand what they're meaning. And especially before we do the project, be sure we read the evaluation form. Evaluation form has a first paragraph outlines the objective of this project and also what they want us to do. In the project, like 10 pages itself, difficult to find out what they want us to do. So read the evaluation form, find out exactly key, and then start to plan the speech we need to prepare. And read that early. Read the evaluation form at the beginning of we starting to start this project.
Okay, thank you. And okay, question. Some Andrew Wang wrote, I haven't got the DTM with the new pathway, and you said that it will take 1 year and 8 months. Is that the time frame you used for your pathways DTM?
That includes the 2 passes and the DTM project. DTM project takes 6 months, but I did the parallel with some of the months of past 2.
Right, okay. And another question, how can you tell your manager or colleague, or how can you tell which style of communication your manager or colleague has?
The easy way is if you can ask them to do a survey, that's the way you find out. But most cases, you have to take your survey and you look at your question and look at your manager from the front side way or back way to find out which one he is similar to and give him a rating, and eventually you find out. Now, when he himself may not know it, so it's difficult.
Right. Okay. And then I've got a question. John mentioned that he saw you deliver 2 speeches in a week, and he would like to know, how did you manage that?
I actually scheduled the 3 speeches in 1 month, 3 months ahead of time. But sometimes it's difficult for me to exactly schedule those 2 clubs to schedule me on the 10 days interval. So some of them say that's the only one they have, but take it or leave it. But I did have 10 days to prepare each one of those 2. Even those 2 are scheduled 3 days apart. I each have 10 days to study it beforehand because I scheduled 3 months ago.
Okay, so a lot of planning. Okay, great. A lot of planning and communication, right?
Yeah,
that's great. And then a question about the printed manuals. So if you have printed manuals, do you also get access to the online materials?
That's the negative part. When you get the printed manual, the benefit is you don't have to worry about any electives. All the projects, 14 projects, they are specified and printed it for you in the manuals. You are stuck with those 14 projects. You don't need to look at any optional projects at all. So the difficulty for the digital form is you have 8 projects, you need to select one. How do I do it? I normally will have to study all those projects to find out my useful one to me to do that one. So I ended up to study a lot of preliminary study of the other 7 projects before I select on my project.
Okay, thank you. And the last question, do you think, okay, is it necessary to, if we need to take, okay, when arranging an individual evaluator for a certain project, is there anything that needs to be taken into consideration for this arrangement?
Yes, I think this is the part we needed to education our district, because the pathway is new and the evaluators, they may not have seen this project before you present it, and they didn't get the evaluation form beforehand, so they might not in a position to evaluate. So actually, we needed to at least to give our evaluator 3 days of our evaluation form and ask them if you have questions in understanding the words, because the evaluation form has the first paragraph very large. It actually summarizes the key objective of this project. And then later on, he asks you, do not present this project any contents in the presentation. You need to do the project by the project ask. They say, what is your prodigy experience as in your mentoring project, for example. So need a communication. That's number 1. Number 2 is for the even in for the person introducing the speaker, he or she should explain what project this person is doing and on which manual. Sometimes they just say level 1, what the project, didn't say which project. So have to specify which project this speaker is talking about and which level and which number and what is the objective. And that will set the tone easier for the speaker to continue there to start talking.
Okay, great.
2 suggestions.
Thank you thank you so much, Webster. Thank you. So time's up. So give you a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you so much. And now our second speaker tonight is Trini Ding, Distinguished Toastmaster. Trini is our past district director, 2017 and 2018. And I served as Trini's club growth director. Right, Trini? Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, so we worked very closely
I'm
together.
quality director.
Yeah, we worked very closely together. And oh, that's right, I was program quality director. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's right. And so we worked very closely together, got to know each other very well. And Trini is a very, very happy person, very happy-go-lucky, and enjoys life tremendously. If you follow her on Facebook, you will feel like you are on holiday every other week. She likes to go hiking. She's a wonderful dancer. But above all, she is a very dedicated Toastmaster, very dedicated. And she, just like Webster, even though very senior member, but still keep doing the projects, keep mentoring other members, and keep supporting the clubs. So really, you contribute so much to Toastmasters in Taiwan. Thank you so much, Trini.
Thank you.
Thank you. And tonight, Trini will deliver her Understanding Your Communication Style, Level 2 Required project. And it's a 5 to 7 minute speech. Trini has already completed her Pathways DTM, and her 2 paths were visionary communication and innovative planning.
Yes.
And
Congratulations.
yeah.
Thank you, Webster.
And next slide, please, Jackie. And the purpose for this project is to learn about different communication styles and identifying one's primary style. And the overview of this project is to complete the discovery of one's communication style through a questionnaire. So let's welcome Trini Ding.
Thank you, Simone. I better stand here and deliver my speech. Well, it's made, I think it made me easy to do this project. So my fellow Toastmasters, when I first saw the project, my reaction was, really? I have been a Toastmaster for ages. Isn't it clear? Am I not a product of Toastmasters? Then on the second thought, well, it would definitely help me to realize how I have improved and transformed. There is definitely more room for me to improve. Aristotle once said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. What a wise man. This project introduces assessment theory, DISA. It stands for direct, initiating, supportive, and analytical. Similar to DISC. You can see on the slide. Yes. Before I joined Toastmaster, whenever I told my fellow members that I was quiet, shy, and introverted person like a man, they would raise their eyebrows, look at me. No way. And I say, oh yes. In the office, I was supportive and friendly. Yet whenever I should speak up, I choose to shut up. No management, not even my colleagues, took me seriously. At Toastmasters, the intermission was the session that I'd rather not to have. Until I started to serve my club as the Vice President membership. Greeting and chatting with our guests was my duty. Now, intermission is my chatting mission. So you see, leadership skill actually brings our communication skill to a higher level. I was not analytical, direct, or decisive. I relied on my instinct, judgment, and experience a lot. Can I convince or persuade people with my instinct and feelings? Yes, I can tell you the truth that I can estimate a number of a bigger crowd, budget, height, weight, temperature, without reading the report. Then today I know fact, proof is very important. So I would do a lot of survey and the paperwork to make my point, to prove my point clear. No doubt, DISA is very helpful, useful for assessment. Still, I would like to say we should take our blood type, animal sign, star sign into consideration to have a more objective assessment. For instance, I'm careless, impatient, forgetful. I like doing several things at a time. And it really affects my ability of focusing and listening. Now I have to keep reminding myself when attention and listening are needed. I was impatient, as I said. This is block type B, definitely. And now I can communicate with people like a peacock. Actually, I prefer to be an owl. And I have half of these styles. If talking about of my shortcomings, I can make a long list. But luckily, I have my positive side too. I am determined, diligent, creative, adventurous, passionate, optimistic, etc. When I was a student, my performance was awful. I daydreamed all day long. My parents were worried I would end up working in the factory. And then 10 months before the college entrance examination, I finally took my future seriously. I woke up at 5:30 every day to catch the first bus to school. I used the best time of the day to study, and my determination and the persistence paid off. Also, I fell in love with English songs when I was in the 3rd year of senior high. I saved my lunch money every day in order to buy records. Hey, food is my love, my life. Imagine I would survive a day without food just for records. And also because of my determination, persistence, I have around, I don't know, I lost count how many projects. And you know, I am a person of many hobbies. And I still can squeeze time and do my best to set a goal, to finish my goals, and to accomplish what I expected myself to do. My fellow Toastmasters, we are here to shape, to transform ourselves. And the self-awareness is the beginning, is the key for our self-improvement and the transformation. Self-transformation starts with the development of self-awareness. So study your communication style. Today, I do my best to use Toastmasters communication style. And I'm still struggling with my negative side. But I am happy to tell you that Toastmasters style helped enrich and colored my life a lot. And what's your communication style? Work on this project and find it out. Back to you, Simone.
Thank you so much, Trini. Oh, what a wonderful speech.
I don't know if the voice sound effect okay or not.
Very good, very clear. Yeah, wonderful. And I would like to ask you about this before we start the audience Q&A. Actually, for our audience, you can please start to type your questions. Before we start the Q&A, I'd like to ask Trini,
yes.
Your speech title is From Self-Awareness to Self-Improvement. So how did you benefit greatest? What was the #1 biggest takeaway from doing this project? Oh,
I'm no longer afraid of being with a group of people or in a crowd. In a crowd, yes. Right now I find that communication is really a very challenging thing, and I can start a conversation instead of just waiting for others to approach me. I believe this is the most obvious improvement that happened to me. Wow. I was very quiet, really. I was very quiet.
That's very hard to believe, Trini, that you are very quiet.
So you see the benefit of joining Toastmasters?
Right.
Bring out our potential, right?
Yeah. Right. Right. And then for the benefit of our audience, for others who want to do this project, what would be your number one advice to them?
Well, I would like to say this is the best way to understand ourselves and see what area or room that we can work on hard to improve. For me, at first I thought, it was obvious why I need to do this project, because right now I'm no longer the one that I used to be. And I know what communication styles I am using. But still, you see, there's a saying, a leopard cannot change its spots. Sometimes our true nature will call up of God. And that's why I have to keep reminding myself, like, focusing, or listening. So I would like to say this is really a very practical, useful project for us to keep moving, to improve. Know that your weakness and your strength, how to make a balance or depend.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. And I want to read the first question. Can you share how you deal with those who have a different communication style with you?
At the first, like I said, I am the person who always sat there and read my stuff. And in this case, if anyone who approaches you, I believe this is the best chance for you to practice, or you just think about before you go to a group or walk into a crowd, you can think about what's the purpose of today, or what do you want to benefit, to receive, to learn. Think about those questions, then you will think of some idea how to make conversation with others by asking those constructive questions, open question, not a closed question, right? And this is the first step. And then try to find some familiar or smiley faces that you think that you can actually start to practice to communicate with. This is very important. Frankly speaking, some people, just by looking at them, frighten me. But now, no one can frighten me. I know that, that requires skills, but with these skills, how to, first calm myself. Hey, everyone's unique with its own way, right?
Mm-hmm.
No need to be scared off. And think about this. You will solve all the obstacles or problems.
Wow, wonderful. And the next question is, how you have completed 2 paths already, right? How long did each path take to complete?
Well, at first I set a schedule to finish 2 paths to receive my DTN award in 1 and 7 months. So actually I run these 2 paths parallelly because I think that they will be more interesting. Once I run a project of, for instance, the first path, and then if I run it again for the second path, and I believe for by comparison, I can actually know better for the second time when I do it, and I can improve a lot. And the second project is definitely better than my first one. And so I visit the clubs a lot, I very often. It's easy for me to arrange my schedule. So normally I just do IE, GE, or other assignment that they like me to take. Still, then occasionally I will say, ask them, do you have a space, a speaking slot for me? And then I can deliver speech. Because I had a schedule. I need to deliver at least 3 speeches in 2 months. If I was behind the schedule, I will try to catch up and find opportunities to do it. So I always study the project, the contents of the project in advance. 2 or 3 months in advance so that I can think about my topic and how should I finish how should I put all my thought into this speech. And this way, I did finish my 2 paths in my, according my schedule. And I received my recognition before the end of the year. The reason was that because I have been I was a pathway ambassador before too. It took me 3 years waiting. Still, members told me they had no idea. No matter how much time we spent in mentoring them, telling them, or doing workshop. So I think the best way is I finish it first, and then I can share my experience. I can motivate them. I can persuade them. I can tell them the advantages, the benefits of running it, and I will tell them, if necessary, how to solve those obstacles in order to have you run your project smoothly. So this is my purpose at first, to finish my 2 paths in my schedule, according to my schedule.
Okay, thank you. And I would like to mention to our audience that so far in our district, we have 4 pathways DTM. I'm one of them. Trini is the second, and Webster is the second, Trini is the third, and our current district director, Mac, is the 4th. And all 4 of us use planning in order to complete our pathways DTM in such a short time. We have all completed our pathways DTM in a relatively short time, and it's all from very smart planning. So that's the key, right, Trini?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I would like to say, well, don't feel depressed if you cannot finish 1 path in 1 or 2 years, because we have the advantages, right, Simone? We serve as a district officer.
Yeah.
That make us easier or make it quicker for us to finish our projects. So if you haven't served as a club officer or district officer, act fast. I mean, be more active. Because leadership, truly, according to my experience, leadership is the key for me to improve the most in the fastest way.
Okay, great. And which we have a question, which was your favorite path?
My favorite path
Yeah.
is now the current path I'm working on, engaging humor.
Oh,
Because I look like a very pleasant person. Still, my problem is I don't have sense of humor. I can mock myself, I can laugh at myself, but still create kind of a sense of humor is so difficult, challenging for me. That's why I look forward very much to run this path. And then right now I just finished L2P2, and I don't think my speeches were funny or humorous enough. So I would like to work more on it.
okay.
Because originally I'd like to tell our listeners, like, I really take communication style, different styles of skills in my pocket, so like I can manage the different people, whether I should serve a direct ball, straight ball, or a curved ball, or a high ball, low ball, fast ball, slow ball. And this is quite interesting. Anyway, every project is a challenge as long as we take it very serious.
Okay, thank you. And another question is, while every project has its specific purpose, how do you come up with various ideas for so many speeches?
Normally, now I know how to do it. Whenever I have a thought, I will jot it down. And now I read different from the internet or media. I got a lot of knowledge, information. So whenever I think of something that interests me, I would just list it down, jot it down. And then when I just mentioned that I will study the content of the project 2 or 3 months before, right? So that I have idea what this project is about. And then when the topic or some special events happen that can match my project, and then that will help me work on it very fast. That's why I said, whenever you have the thought, just to jot it down and read more, listen more, pay attention more. That's my sharing.
Okay, great. And let me just check the time. Okay. Okay, we have one more question. Is it hard to do speeches online, or is face-to-face harder?
It's hard to do speeches online. Frankly speaking, I'm still not used to online meeting, Zoom meeting, because I need interaction. I need to do project face-to-face with the audience, that I can develop more my impromptu body language or facial expressions. I'm kind of an excitable person. If I have to be limited in this small square on the screen, really, it doesn't sound very exciting to me. That's why I haven't supported you very often, Simone. I apologize. Frankly, truly speaking, usually when I look at me in the video or camera, is it me? Is it really me? I often wonder.
Yeah, but you know, Trini, you come across very, very bright and wonderful, you know, in the online platform.
Mm-hmm.
So very, your speech is very entertaining. Your movement, your sound, your facial expression is all very, very suitable for online. So
Really?
yes, yes. So please come back and do more speeches with us. We would love to have you.
Sure.
Thank you. And so now that's the end of the Q&A. Thank you so much to our second speaker, Trini. Thank you, Trini. And thank you. And now for our third speaker tonight. Our third speaker is a incoming Division E director, and she's currently the Zhongli Club president, Chiara Lee. Chiara is very active in doing speeches. I can see she's already finished her presentation mastery level 4 and concurrently doing her visionary communication path. So another very, very passionate Toastmaster who's very active in pathways. How wonderful. And tonight, Chiara's project is the level 3 elective project, Inspire Your Audience. This is a 5 to 7 minute speech. And if you notice on the screen, on the slide, there are 2 silver pins, right? So those are the 2 path pins, but they are silver. And once Chiara completes those 2 paths, so PM5, VC5, then she will get the gold pins. So just let everyone know, in case you haven't seen the silver pins before, you can get your silver pins while you are working on the path and then apply for the gold pin. And of course, every member can apply for a pin from district, 1 pin per member per term. So it's a wonderful deal. Make sure you don't miss it. You still have time this term to apply for your pin. I don't know if Chiara, you have applied for your pin yet. If you haven't, apply for it. Okay, and then let's have a look at this project. Inspire your audience. The purpose is to practice writing and delivering a speech that inspires others. And so to select a topic with the intention of inspiring the audience, and it's a 5 to 7 minute speech. And then the speech title tonight is the ripple effect. It's such a wonderful title, The Ripple Effect. So let's welcome Chiara Lee.
To you and me, this world is wide as a pond of water. You and me, as a single person, a single action, seems so insignificant, as small as a droplet. However, when a droplet hits the water, it will create a ripple, a wave, wide-spreading and long-lasting. My dear Toastmasters, I still remember when I was 10 years old, I had homework for my art class. All the students had to draw the impression of their mother. I depicted my mother wearing thick glasses, sitting at a table, working with a pile of documents. When I was 13, I found my mother was working on a different thing, only a piece of A4 paper filled with English words from the very top to the very end. Mom, what are you doing? Ah, daughter, nothing. I'm just preparing my script. Why are you preparing your script? Because I'm going to deliver a speech to introduce myself. And she took a mug, sipped some water, and this mug printed a globe that you may be familiar with. And that also printed, I love Toastmasters, 中立国际英语演讲会. As a freshman of junior high, as I still struggled to remember the alphabet from A to Z, I thought, this is amazing. My mother is able to deliver speech in English. And that's also my first impression about Toastmasters. My mother is not only practicing her English in Toastmasters, but also make a lot of good friends here, such as GP Liao, a senior member and still a paid member in Zhongli Toastmasters Club. GP is a very important person to our family because he is not only my parents' good friend, our family doctor, but also sometimes he has to play psychological consultant. Around 5 years ago, when I was in my early 30s, okay, now you might be guessing my real age. That's okay. I can tell you the truth later. That day, my mother went to see GP Liao. Once sitting down, she just said, GP, I'm so worried about Chiara. She is in her 30s and she is not seeing anybody. What can I do? And GP replied, Evelyn, why don't you ask Chiara to join Toastmasters? As a good daughter and a good patient, I accepted my mom's advice and also GP's prescription. I officially joined Toastmasters in January 2016. In this short 4.5 years, whenever I recall, joining Toastmasters is the most rewarding decision I have ever made, because that made me step out of the old conservative lifestyle. I stepped out to feel, to praise, to communicate. After all the practice in Toastmasters, I found I'm becoming a better version of myself. And if we get down to the root, we'll find That's all because of my mother's positive decision 24 years ago. At that moment, it seems so insignificant because my mom's decision only related to her. But in fact, this decision is like the droplet. Hitting the water, create a ripple, widespreading and long-lasting. Until now, I can still get the influence of my mother's positive decision. To you and me, this world is wide as a pond of water. You and me, a single person, a single action seems so insignificant, as small as a droplet. And yet, when the droplet hits the water, it will create a ripple, widespreading and long-lasting. Like my mother's single decision influenced me and changed my life 24 years later. Your single action also matters, even though it may be as small as a droplet, but it will create a ripple that may change your life and change the lives of people around you. My dear Toastmaster, let's try to create our own ripple effect. Try to create the positive effect and make it widespreading and long-lasting. Back to you, Simone.
Wow. I want to ask the audience, if you feel inspired, type 1 in the chat box. Yeah, okay, many ones. Everybody's inspired. You did a wonderful job. I was so in awe watching you. Thank you so much, Chiara. And I also want to invite our audience to start typing the questions, okay? And while we are waiting for the questions, I would like to ask Chiara, for this project, Inspire Your Audience, what's your recommendation for the audience, you know, in terms of how to figure out an appropriate topic for this?
I think the first step to create the inspiring speech is to find the moment that changes your life. I think that you probably need to recall all the memorable moments in the past. And probably you can start to do it right now. Like whenever anything inspiring happens, you can write it down or just type it in a Google document. So you can check it from time to time. So you will have some database for your inspiring moments. And when the right time comes, because actually this one was an inauguration speech for my, when I started my presidency of being a Jolly Toastmaster Club president last year. So because that time my mom also was invited to witness this ceremony. So I think that's the moment to admire her, to share my gratitude to my mother. So I think that's the time I just pick this fragment of my life and actually deliver and develop that as a whole speech.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. And we have a guest asking whether your mother is still a Toastmaster member.
No, actually, no. Actually, she hadn't persisted that long, maybe in 1 or 2 years. But after that, because she was very busy at work and also taking care of me and my brother. But I really appreciate it when I feel a little bit lost and feel a little bit, I didn't know what I should do. And she recommended me. And GP also recommended me to join Toastmasters.
Okay, great. And for this, you mentioned you delivered this project as your inauguration speech at the beginning of this term. And did somebody have to convince you to become the president, or were you looking forward to taking that role?
Actually, as taking the leadership roles, I'm very passive. Comparing to delivering speech, I'm more proactive in delivering speeches. But actually, there are many proactive members in Zhongli Toastmasters, and they are also willing to encourage people to take the role. And actually, I was convinced by our current VPE Richard to take the role of being the president. And actually, I also appreciate. I think I should find the right moment to show my appreciation to Richard, because I think the whole year really changed me a lot.
Wow, that's wonderful. So Richard is Richard Shen, right?
Yes,
Ah,
yes,
yeah,
that's
very
right.
experienced member.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a question. How do you inspire someone who is sad?
Who is sad? So I
Yeah.
probably need to know, in the first place, need to know why he or she feels sad. I think that's a part, because I think everyone, there are so many reasons to feel sad. So I probably need to find that. And I think positive energy is very important, especially when someone's down and he or she doesn't know how to get up, how to recover. So I think the positive energy from people around him or her, that would be important. Yeah, I'm not so sure, because there are so many possibilities to find the right way to inspire a certain person. So I probably will find the real reason at first.
Thank you. Thank you. And the next question is, what important lessons have you learned in Toastmasters these years?
Important lesson?
Yeah.
As being a president, I think care about everyone's feeling is the key. It's nothing to do with the KPI that we are going to achieve, but instead we need to see more, because we are not just pursuing the speech goals, but also to see the possible improvement of every member. And whenever they just have one step forward, as a president, after the meeting, I'll just send them messages to give them praise and to say positive things to them, so they will feel good and they will have stronger connection, and they will feel more empowered to deliver more speeches or just standing on the stage more frequently. So I think that's something I learned, how to connect with people by taking care of them.
Wow, that is also very inspirational. Thank you. And what your club is Zhongli Toastmasters Club, right? And
Yes.
again, is asking whether you are still meeting online.
Actually, we are having physical meetings right now, but we did have 4 or 5 online meetings from last March to last April, around 1 month. We had online gathering every week during that period of time.
Oh, okay, but not anymore.
Not anymore, but I think our new president and the new VPE are arranging another online meeting in August. But we need to see if the schedule is revealed. I'll probably just post it in our Facebook and our fan page.
Okay, great, thank you. And another question is, what do you think? Well, how do you feel? What are the differences between Toastmasters and other sources for learning English? So the difference between Toastmasters and other, English learning.
Yes, okay, thank you. Actually, I'm still having some online tutoring English classes as a student, not teacher, as a student. And I found, because online tutoring classes, they have the specific goal, because they have textbook. So we have to learn a certain paragraph, certain vocabulary in that class. However, Toastmasters is more flexible. It just gives you a practical way to use your English, not just learn it from the textbook, but use it in a very practical and real way. So if you want to practice your presentation when you at your workplace, so you probably take it to the Toastmasters, because there are so many audience willing to listen to you and give you advice. So it's something definitely good for your real practice.
Okay, great. And you just got a compliment about your English. It's very good. And I have also always thought that too. I'm just wondering, why is it so good? Like even you are so fluent and your accent is very good. Your pronunciation is very good. Yeah. So what's your secret?
The secret is, I have to say, English is the only subject that I keep practicing, keep improving after I graduated from high school. So it's almost 20 years. So I never stopped that and just keep practicing. And about the speaking, I tried in a very hard way because I got some, how can I say, bad experiences when I travel overseas. Having a business trip overseas, but around 4 or 5 years ago, my speaking was not that fluent. And so I just, had some bad experiences and thought, I should become better. So I just pushed myself in a hard way. Like I read books every day for 10 minutes, never stop, 10 minutes, and try to correct my pronunciation in many different ways, like listening to my own voice and try to correct me. Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay, great. And another question, people are very curious about you, Chiara. And somebody's asking, why do you choose Chiara as your name?
Thank you. Actually, Chiara is not an English name, it's an Italian name. Because before joining Toastmasters, I learned Italian for almost 4 years. So actually, this name was given by my Italian teacher. And that it means, in Italian, means bright color, full of light, like that. And I found, actually, that also gave me some privilege because I will not have the same name with other person in Toastmaster because this name is kind of weird. It's very hard to pronounce as well. So yeah, that's why I chose Chiara, because I just stopped my learning of Italian at that time. So I thought, I should keep using Chiara to remind myself I learned Italian for several years.
Wow, that's a very interesting story. And another question is, what can clubs do when members need help with English?
Okay, thank you. Actually, that's what I do for my mentee. Actually, I encourage them to, I just say that if they are not confident on their pronunciation, they're not confident on their speaking, I will encourage them to have the script maybe 1 or 2 weeks prior to the stage time. I'll ask them to give me the script and I'll read it for them. And they can compare their pronunciation and my pronunciation, even though my pronunciation is not 100% accurate or correct, but they can probably get some maybe 80% corrected their pronunciation. So they will still improve. If they do what I suggest, they will improve. I think that's the very fundamental way to improve English speaking.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. Okay, and so you are doing 2 paths currently. Do you also use the planning ahead method?
Planning ahead, sort of, like Webster, like what Webster just said. Because in joining Toastmasters, because Richard is very, very, not aggressive, but very, how can I say, he wants to help everyone to have the progress in speeches. So actually we have the pre-arranged agenda for whole year, so you can book your favorite slots. And also he had the progress chart. If we have just complete one, and we'll have one step forward, the different colors to show your progress in certain paths. So I think it's the way to encourage every member trying to deliver more speeches. Yeah, I think I also plan ahead around 3 or 4 speeches a time.
Wow. Okay. Richard sounds awesome. I must invite him to deliver a speech. He must be very active in Pathways as well, right?
Yes, actually,
Okay.
he's on his maybe level 5, engaging humor. Yeah.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Okay, and okay, last question is, how do you memorize your script? Because you know sometimes some people will find it easy to forget parts of their script. So what's your secret?
My secret is don't memorize all the words. Just have just separate my speeches into several blocks. Every block will have one key point. So I just try to remember the key point. Like in the first, I just remember, okay, I'm going to talk about the metaphor of ripple effect. And then I'm going to tell you about the memory when I was 10 years old and then 13 years old, like that. I just have get every block ready and just say that one by one. And it will make the speech more natural. And also, I will feel less nervous when I think that way, because when I joined Toastmasters for the first year, I was also very nervous about forgetting my lines. And then I found, oh, this way is more suitable for me. So I just stopped memorizing all the words, exact words. I think that will help you.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's the end of our Q&A with Chiara. So thank you so much, Chiara.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now it's time to show our appreciation. So we have some electronic certificates. So Jackie, if you could show those, please. Okay, so, okay, and also I would like to, if everyone can have a look in the chat box, there is a Google feedback form link. And if you don't mind, just click that link. Just a few short questions about your satisfaction for tonight's training. So please do spend a few seconds just giving us a bit of feedback, any suggestions you have or anything you particularly liked tonight, because this will be an ongoing program. We will continue to do these events twice a month, continuing all through next term. So some events will be English, some will be in Chinese. I've even had a request for Taiwanese, so we'll see. But all of the feedback every time we have an event really helps us to keep improving. It just because this is Toastmasters, so we just keep working, keep doing our best, and we keep improving. And so now for the certificate of appreciation, the first certificate is for me from our training organizer, Jackie Zhang. Thank you very much. So can take a photo. We have a photographer.
Actually, please give the hint to Simone. Thank you.
Just a reminder, Jackie, your mouse.
Okay, so is my photo okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And the next certificate. Okay, the next certificate is for the support team. So we have quite a big team. We've got Jack Pai, our PQD Doris Guo, Ashley Zhang, Alex Shi, Julie Huang, and Mark Foreman. So it takes a village to make this event happen. And there's been a lot of effort, several meetings and rehearsals prior to today. So thank everybody so much. Thank you. Okay, and our next certificate is to our first speaker, Webster Kiang. So can we spotlight Webster?
Wait a minute, please. Just a second.
Hello.
Okay, so Webster, strike a pose for a photo. Yep. So Webster, can you make a pose for a photo? We'll take an online photo.
Online photo. Agree.
Yeah, can you make a pose? Look at the camera and we'll take a photo.
Okay.
Okay.
Come.
Oh,
Get it.
all right.
Is okay?
Yes. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And our next certificate, thank you so much, Webster. Our next certificate is Trini Ding, our second speaker tonight. So let's spotlight Trini.
Trini, please turn on your video. Thank you.
And Jackie, could you help to change the spotlight?
Okay,
I did.
so
Okay,
let's
wait
have
a
a
minute.
photo.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, Trini. So wonderful. And our next certificate. Chiara, thank you so much. And let's have a photo.
Okay, just wait a minute. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. All right, and okay, so that's the last certificate. Okay, and I would like to just let everybody know our next event is on July 4th. It's also an English event. And guess what? We have, for those of us who are from Taiwan, we know one of our most successful champions, multiple champions in Taiwan is Lin Huijun, right? Caroline. And guess what? She's going to deliver her project in English on July 4th. So don't miss that. And we will have promotion coming out very soon. And Carol's English is wonderful. Normally, we all see her perform Mandarin, even Taiwanese speeches. But on July 4th, tune in to watch her deliver her English speech. And also, just a final reminder, please, if you haven't already joined the District 67 Pathways Q&A FB group, if you are a member of this group already and you have asked a question, you know that somebody will answer you very fast. There are people watching this group like a hawk, and they dive in and answer your questions really quickly. So please join this group. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Small questions, big questions. We have a lot of people there who are developing a lot of expertise in pathways. We're more than happy to help. Okay, so shall we do a group photo? Okay, so everybody, if you don't mind, turn on your cameras, and then our photographer will help us to take the group photos. Okay, so who's our photographer tonight, Jackie?
Ashley
Me?
will help.
And wait a minute.
Okay.
Does everyone ready for a photo? Is everyone ready? Okay, I'll start to count. I will take a photo for twice, and it's the first one. 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait. Sorry, because some system problem. So when I try to take a photo, please don't type anything in the chat box. Okay, try it again. 3, 2, 1. Okay, for the first time. Oops. Okay. For second time. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed my hosting. I did my best to demo a good host, and hope everybody enjoyed and learned something tonight. And I certainly learned a lot. I think our 3 speakers tonight, absolutely wonderful. So much depth in experience. So please join me and our team again on July 4th for our next wonderful learning opportunity. And good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Simone did a great job. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Oh, thank you
Yes,
so much.
excellent.
Yeah. Trini,
you.
I also like your speech.
Thank you. I felt very awkward actually giving my speech in front of. Thank you. So I look forward very much to seeing you, Doris.
Okay,
Our
sure.
installation.
Sure, I'm waiting for you in the south. And Webster, I like your speech.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Webster.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you,
Webster.
Webster, too. Yes.
Yeah. And Chiara, you are awesome. Thank you.
Right. I really like Kiara's speech very much.
Yeah. We can learn something from each other. So see you next time, everyone.
See you
Have a
next
good
time.
evening. Bye.
See
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good night.
Thank
Bye.
you.